My name is Scott Memhard.
There you go.
My name is Scott Memhard. I'm a Ward 1 City Councilor for Gloucester, and this is our Budget and Finance Committee meeting of October 20th, 2022. And with us this evening is Vice Chair Tony Gross, Councilor at Large, and Council Member Jeff Worthley, Councilor at Large as well. We also have Mark Cole from DPW, Sherry Carvallis, our Clerk of Committees, John Dunn, our CFO, Councilor Val Gilman, City Council President, is present with us, as is Councilor Jamie O'Hara, also at large, and Kenny Costa, our City Auditor. I think that covers it. And TJ, did I welcome you or mention you? You deserve mention tonight. TJ Shimataro, our Harbor Master Extraordinaire. Welcome. To begin the meeting, I'll read our Zoom boilerplate, and that is to the effect that for this meeting, consistent with Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation on the Zoom platform. The public may not physically attend the meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and to listen to the meeting in real time and to participate as and when necessary. And if you are calling in on a phone, you can press *9 to request to speak. If you're watching on a computer or a device, there's a raise hand button that you can tap or press to speak. Please use either of these options to be recognized. So we're going to take items in order this evening. The first are 4 or 5 items from DPW that are invoices that are looking to be paid. Mr. Cole, do you want to step us through this?
Sure. Is there any particular order you want to go? Any particular order you want to go through the invoices, or does it matter?
Whatever. The order of our agenda has the first item is $328, followed by a $74 item, followed by a $3,100 item, followed the biggie of $16,844.
Okay, so I think the first one is city elevator.
Excuse me, Councilor Memhard. Excuse me, Michael. There is a quorum of the City Council. Just wanted to let you mention that.
Thank you very much, Sherry.
You're welcome.
Mark.
Okay. The first one is from City Elevator, who was our elevator contractor. They do all the maintenance repair on all the city elevators. And they did some work mid-June 2022. And by the time we got the invoice, even though it's dated 8/24, we didn't get it until sometime in September. So we had already closed out the purchase order. So we're looking to pay that one out of this year's purchase order, and the amount is $328.
Okay. Why don't we go right through them, and then
Okay.
We'll do the motion separately.
Okay. I have another one from Konica Minolta. They do our copiers, and the same situation. We got a bill late from them. It came in after the end of June. The PO had already been closed out, and we're looking to pay $74.64 out of this year's purchase order from engineering.
Okay, and the next one.
Third one is BCM Controls. They do all of our securities and cameras, things like that. And they had a project at O'Malley. The original quote for the security upgrades was just a little bit over 13,000. And they invoiced us for one invoice, which we paid. And then the second invoice came in, it was $3,139. And that was over the estimated purchase order. So we need to pay that from this year's monies as well. And that would come out of our facilities purchase and services line item. And the final one is the big one. This Houghton Mechanical, they are the company that we've been using since before the city took over the rink. They do all the HVAC work on the compressors for the ice. They do quite a bit of work for us. He is habitual at not invoicing us until well after the work has been done, and we keep on him about it. We got invoiced a little over almost $20,000. Didn't come in until late this summer. And that was after us calling him repeatedly and asking for the stuff to get in before June. So we had enough money to pay about a little over 3,000 in last year's account. So we're looking to pay 16,844 out of a facilities account this year because we don't have that kind of money in the rink. Normally we don't spend this much with him, but they had he had to replace a couple of big ticket items. And the first one he got, I think there was something wrong with it. So we didn't have to pay for it, but he had to come back a second time and do the work. So our new rink manager, Todd Mazzio, Todd knows him very well. Todd was the rink manager at Pingree for a long time before we got him to come to Gloucester. And he's dealt with Houghton while he was at Pingree. And he basically has told Mr. Houghton that if he doesn't invoice us within like the 30-day period of when he does the work, we're going to tell him we can't pay it and see if that'll spark him to get the invoices to us in a more timely manner. But it seems like
that might work.
It seems like every year I have to come to you guys around this time of the year to pay invoices from this guy. And it's the simple fact is he does great work, but his paperwork leaves a lot to be desired. So if we could pay those 4 sets of invoices out of FY23 funds, we'll be all set and ready to go.
Sounds good. These things happen.
Yeah.
Councilors, questions? Councilor Gross?
No, no, I see where the money's coming from, so, and the reasons for it being delayed are all legitimate. So I don't see any, I don't have any questions on these.
Thank you. Councilor Worthley?
Yes, just real quickly. First, thank you, Mark. Nice to see you. I don't think this is something that city staff could do any more. Say it again?
No, I mean, we
Oh, sorry,
generally
just-
call around to all of our bigger contractors starting in mid-May to ask them to please get in all their invoices before mid-June. And the majority of them do. Every year there's 1 or 2 that slip through. And we generally wait and, at least into September, mid-September before we, make the presentation to you guys, because we just want to do it once. I don't want to come to you for, the $74 invoice and then come back to you for another $300 invoice. I'd rather just come one time and get it over with at one time.
So I just paused because there was a delay, but I think maybe I heard it somehow. So first, there's no problem with the city staff getting this to us late. Some of the work looks like it was done, in June anyway, so you'd expect there to be a little delay. So those aren't issues that I care. I mean, I care, but I'm not worried about. The only question I have is if we're using FY 2023 money that was allocated for things that might be coming up or something we're spending the money on, does that impact sort of the program of work, the things that we'd be working on or spending money on for this year?
It might towards the end of the year. And we just have to see how the year plays out.
Okay. I don't see any faster way. I think contractors are notorious. Well, I mean, look, they're busy doing the job and getting the next job. And, it's not always easy to go look backwards and send bills out. I think this is just sort of the way it's going to go probably for all eternity. So I have no problem with the work that was done and the timing of it. I completely understand. So I'm happy to support. Do you want to do this as one motion, Scott, or do you want to do it as individual motions?
I have a
We
question.
have to do it individually according to Kenny. Yes,
I
Tony?
Not really a question or anything, but Mark, I'm seeing this stuff. Work was done in January and I'm seeing the date on the invoice of June 28th. I mean, even if that had come off, there was no way that could have got, I mean, I guess that's unbelievable. How does this guy stay in business, or is he just that profitable that he can, we can use him as a bank,
He's a small, like 1 to 2 person operation, but he does probably the majority of the rinks on the North Shore. So if he's not at our rink, he's at somebody else nearby. And I'm sure we're not the only ones that are, going through the same problem with their invoices.
So he probably has a steady stream of cash coming in. It's just all from 9
From
months
year
earlier.
before.
Yeah,
Yes, so he has adjusted his
Okay.
cash flow.
yeah.
So he collects 9 months after the service is delivered, and apparently that works for him. Yep.
Yeah. Sort of like dirt.
That's what Dirt Murray does. That guy's collecting stuff from FY18.
Mr. Chairman, I
Councilor O'Hara, I
see-
see your hand raised. Please, you have a question, please. Councilor O'Hara. Jamie? I see a hand raised, but no, nothing further. Jamie? If I can't bring Counselor O'Hara in, I'll go ahead and go through the motions with everyone if there don't appear to be any other questions.
I see that he's logged off. I bet he's trying to log back in, if I'm knowing Jamie.
Okay,
That's just a guess.
so we can start the motions, and if he wants to interject, he's certainly going to be welcome to do so. So there are 4 motions. I'll take them one at a time. Keep it clean. The first is to recommend City Council, in accordance with Mass General Law 4464, approve payment of a prior year invoice from City Elevator Company to Gill Street, Woburn, providing annual safety code work at the O'Malley Middle School on June 15th, 2022, and for the purposes of paying invoice number 64640 dated August 24th, 2022, to be paid with fiscal year 2023 general fund, DPW facilities maintenance budgeted funds, account number as noted, DPW facilities maintenance repair and maintenance elevators, for a total of $328 even, and I so move.
Second.
Second. Doesn't
Any
matter.
further discussion on this one? Seeing none. Counselor Gross,
Yes.
Counselor Worthley,
Yes.
Counselor Memhard. Yes, motion passes on a vote of 3-0, unanimous support. The second item is to move to recommend the City Council, in accordance with Mass General Law 4464, approve payment of a prior year invoice from Konica Minolta Business Solutions USA, Woburn, Mass, providing copying services and supplies to DPW engineering for the period of October 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2021, for the purpose of paying invoice number 276341085, dated October 31st, 2021, to be paid with fiscal year 2023 general fund DPW engineering budgeted funds. Account number is noted, DPW engineering, repairs and maintenance, office equipment, for a total of $74.64. And I so move.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Further discussion? Seeing none. Counselor Gross,
Yes.
Counselor Worthley,
Yes.
Counselor Memhard, yes. Motion passes 3-0, unanimous support. I don't see Jamie logging back in.
Me neither.
So the third motion is to recommend that the City Council, in accordance with Mass General Law 44, paragraph 64, approve payment of a prior year invoice from BCM Controls Corporation in Woburn, Mass, who provided security upgrades at the O'Malley Middle School in October of 2021, for the purpose of paying invoice number 005008576, dated November 10th, 2021, to be paid with fiscal year 2023 general fund DPW maintenance facilities budgeted funds. Account number is noted, DPW facilities maintenance purchase of services, for a total of $3,100.39. And I so move.
Second.
Made and seconded. Any further discussion? Counselor Gross,
Yes.
Counselor Worthley,
Yes.
Counselor Memhard, yes. The motion passes on a vote of 3-0. And then the fourth one, which is the more substantial one, relating to our refrigeration guy. I would move to recommend the City Council, in accordance with Mass General Law Chapter 44, paragraph 64, approve payment of previous year invoices from Houghton Mechanical Corporation, Swampscott, Mass, who provided annual maintenance and repairs during fiscal year 2022 at the Dorothy Talbot Rink at the O'Malley Middle School for the purpose of paying the following invoices and to be paid with fiscal year 2023 general fund DPW maintenance facilities budgeted funds. Account number is noted. DPW facilities maintenance purchase of services for a total of $16,844.01. And there
Okay.
are 4 invoices listed for, again, the total of $16,844.01. And I would so move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Councillor Gross,
Yes.
Councillor Worthley,
Yes.
and Councillor Memhard. Yes, motion passes unanimously 3-0. So we'll keep that rink running. That's it for you, Mark, I believe. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Thanks,
Right,
Mark.
You too. And the second item is a matter of great good news for all of us, I think, reflecting follow-up relating to the new harbor master boat and funding support for that previously authorized purchase. And we don't have a vote tonight since we've already approved the loan authorization. And this qualifies as gifts or grants available to pay the costs of the project. But the total amount is of the port security grant is in the amount of $285,941. And I think between TJ, Kenny, and John, I bet there's a story to tell here.
Do we not have
Yeah,
to
so
accept
maybe
the
I'll,
grant?
maybe I'll jump in first before TJ. So again, this came through the mayor's report before we caught it. It doesn't necessarily have to go to you for a vote because that language is embedded in the loan order, but we thought that it was important to bring it out to you that in fact, with TJ's effort and, some support effort from other people, we were very successful in, getting a grant for 75% of the cost of the new boat. So we did want to put that out there. I know that the chairman was part of that last year during the deliberations, and that Councilor Gross was also part of that when he was supporting it as a member of the Waterways Commission. So we thought it was important to just let you know that a good job was done by very many people, primarily TJ, to bring this forward.
Councillor Gross has a question.
Don't we have to accept the grant no matter what?
No, because, in terms of,
Because
part of
we
what-
already did it through
you
the,
already did it through the
Okay.
language in the loan order that says
Got it.
yes.
got it. Okay, thanks for that.
I
had the
didn't know
same
that
question,
either.
and
That's why I
discussed
put it
earlier
forward
with
in the
Kenny.
mayor's report. So here I am.
That's all right. It's always good to get these kind of,
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much the story. John told it. We did what we said we were going to do, applied for a port security grant. They came back with agreeing to pay 75% of the total cost of the build, which is less than the original loan order amount by a good 20,000, I think. So, yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. The boat's in production. I hope to have it by June. We were pretty much down a boat a majority of the summer this summer. It was pretty difficult to get everything we needed to do with the equipment that we had. So we're really, really looking forward to this thing showing up. But other than that, I'm just, happy to report that we were successful. So.
That's great.
It certainly is. Councillor, questions or discussion? Councillor Worthley.
Thank you. Given that we don't need to take a vote to accept it, I just would say I would have been voting yes if that were the case, obviously. But I want to first thank you, TJ, for doing this. It's awesome. I have 2 quick questions just in general to sort of help me and help everybody learn a little bit. One is, are you writing grants or is there a grants department in the city? Are you writing this yourself?
So I collaborated with I think it's called Strategic Solutions that the city's been using, the FEMA people, in the absence of like Carol McMahon. And I mean, Kenny can probably explain it better than I can, but it was a collaborative effort between us and them. So we did pay a pretty small amount of money actually, because we kind of split the work up, but administrative costs are absorbed by the grant as well. So we really didn't pay anything. But it's a very, very confusing, very confusing grant to apply for. It houses like 3 different FEMA applications and federal government programs. We've had some turnover in departments and I wasn't really familiar with them. So I thought to have the most chance of success, even if we didn't get it, and it cost me, $1,500 or $2,000, it was worth it. But no.
Absolutely.
So it's a dual effort. I mean, we provide all the data and the narrative and the body, and they kind of just help us through like the regulatory stuff that needs to be in there that I'm just not aware of.
Yeah, I just, again, give you credit for pushing through and securing this. My other question is probably not really for you, TJ. Again, nothing about this grant, but just in general. When we put a loan authorization out and then we get other money that comes in to maybe offset it like this does, what happens to that loan authorization? Does it mean like we're like a credit card, you're approved to spend that money some other way? Or do we close out that loan in some way? Because I remember vaguely in the back of my mind, a long time ago, there was a lot of loan authorizations that were for projects that never happened. They were for projects that didn't cost as much, and it had some impact, some negative impact on our borrowing capacity. And this, again, is not a TJ question. It's not about this grant. It's just an overall observation, or should we be observing this? And I'll leave it to John or Kenny to help me with that one.
So generally, if we get a grant, that reduces the amount of debt we can issue on that loan appropriation. So whatever we get for grants, donations, other sources of funds, that's going to reduce what we can actually put out. So that's something that I go back and forth with our financial advisors as well as bond counsel, and we must report. So we get lots of grants that come in after the fact.
Mhm.
So what we're doing with the loan appropriation is making sure that we appropriate enough money to fund the project, knowing that there may be multiple sources of funding that comes in to defray what we may have to issue in debt at some point in time. So these are a little bit different than you accepting grants. You accept a grant, which basically establishes the appropriation to do whatever the grant says. These are a little bit different.
Mhm. So what happens if we've already issued the debt? Does that get reissued differently? Again, I don't even know this is a council thing, so I don't want to go off track. I just want to learn a little bit about what do we do from our overall, does it affect our borrowing capacity if we have a loan authorization out that we don't actually use? Does it make it more flexible for TJ or the Waterways Board to say, hey, we can use that money for something? Again, no nefarious implications here. I just want to understand how this works.
So generally, we don't issue permanent debt until the project is over and we know what we have to issue debt for. There may be some other circumstances where we're out in front. So for example, we issued debt 13 months ago for the new elementary school. And we issued that $20 million, and we issued it because it ended up being 2%. So we will take some risks occasionally with the interest rate market, but generally we don't issue debt until the end of the project.
I understand. Thank you for indulging me in that moment of education. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Councilor Gross.
Yeah, also, I'd like to mention that some of getting this grant was made possible through TJ's relationships with these the people who were the granting authorities and the people in Boston. It really was instrumental to be able to have those kind of, you know, that help up front to make this go through smoother. So I just want to, you know, give a little bit of credit to TJ and his schmoozing ability, I guess. But and yeah, Jeff, I mean, I remember those years, but we also didn't. We went many years without certifying our free cash or certifying our
Anything.
end of year. So there was a lot of sloppy bookkeeping, and that's been taken care of now through the past few administrations have been a much closer eye kept on that between you know, particularly when John and Kenny. So
I have a much better understanding of it now. Thank you both. Thank you all for helping me with that. Good job, TJ.
Thanks.
Indeed.
That's pretty much all I got. So
But before I read the motion, TJ, I just had one further comment, which was other good news that you shared in the terms of the pipeline and the anticipated delivery date of the new boat, which sounded somewhat sooner than you had been concerned might be the case.
we're looking at right around Fiesta 2023, June, like the 20th is a tentative date. Could be a little sooner, could be a little later. The boat will be done. I got to go out to Seattle at some point here and do some configuration stuff with them once they've cut all the parts and we kind of finally decide where every little thing's going to go. These are purpose-built custom boats. So at some point I'll have to get out there for a little bit, but the boat will be done way sooner than we'll be waiting for engines like everyone else in the world. And that could, you know, I've been waiting for a pickup truck for the department now for almost 18 months. I've ordered it twice when GM and I tried to order a Ford. I don't care what we get. We just need another vehicle. And both times Chevy Chevy has accepted the order and then later on canceled due to whatever, supply chain, chips, blah, 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 blah. So, when I'm not allowed to reorder again till January, even put my name on the list. This is a nationwide problem. This isn't a Gloucester problem. So the outboard game is kind of similar. Cape Ann Marina had no engines, and then all of a sudden Suzuki showed up with an 18-wheeler with like 15 months back ordered full engines. So I'm not sure when, but the target date is June, and I really hope that's the latest, but we'll see.
Right.
All right, so
Don't-
TJ, just so you know that you can spend 12 hours on the West Coast.
Okay. Just 12?
Just 12.
includes travel time.
It includes travel time.
Yeah, okay.
Now, TJ, does that mean we're still getting Mercuries or are we getting whatever?
Yeah, we're still getting Mercuries. Yep. Yeah. You can't even order a Yamaha till they're saying till October of 23. You can't even put your order in. And that'll get kicked down the road too, because that's been kicked down the road like 3 times. Val knows because she just came on, shook her head. She knows how it is trying to get a Yamaha. It was like impossible. So yeah, we're getting Mercs. That's a proper power for that boat. So that's it.
Again, this is an information only item, but congratulations and thank you.
Thank you.
I'd also like to recognize Pam Toby from the mayor's office, who's present on our call. The next item on our agenda, item number.
Have a good night, everybody.
3.
Hey,
Thank you.
TJ.
Thank you, TJ.
Thanks.
Item number 3, City Council Order 2022-027, Gross and Gilman request the Budget and Finance Standing Committee review the Gloucester School Committee request to approve school committee compensation from $5,000 per year to $5,500 per year, effective January 1st, 2024, as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 71-52. So I'd open that for discussion. Councillor Gilman or Councillor Gross?
You want me to start? I'll start.
Yeah, I think Tony, you should
Yeah,
take the
so
lead.
the school committee deliberated long and hard, I think, from what I understand from listening to a few of the members about whether or not to push this forward. And finally, they determined on the number of $500 to be a nominal amount to increase at this particular time. They haven't had a raise. The city council and mayor both have raises since then, but it's either the late 19s or either 20 or 21. I mean, 01 or 02 was when the last time, and I think it was 01, because when I got on there in 02, it was at 5,000. So it must have been, it was before, it was either 20 or 21, 2000 or 01 rather. So, or 1999. So it's been a long time coming. And like I said, the city council and the mayor have both had significant raises since then. And so they voted this, but we, by state law, are the only people who are allowed to grant them compensation as long as it's allowed in the charter. And the charter has no restriction. It's silent on the same restrictions that we have as far as, can't be in the last 18 months, or it has to be, can't be in the last 6 months of the term, but they put that restriction on this anyway. So that's about all I got, Val. Like I said, the state makes us, it comes out of their budget. So they're the ones who have to decide how much they want to spend because it's their budget and they need to be able to figure out how they're going to account for this. But anyway, it doesn't necessarily increase their request. The argument can be made that it does, but it doesn't necessarily, because I think that they, this is, not even a copier machine contract for one school. So this increase. So that's about it. You got something, Val?
Yeah, through the chair, can I just add?
Councilor Gilman.
So during COVID particularly, the amount of hours that the school committee was putting in was just amazing. And just long, laborious meetings over and over and over and over again, sometimes 3 in a week. And having served on the school committee, it's a busy committee. And I really think that this $500 increase is very small, but the school committee didn't want to overdo it either, because they're very fiscally responsible and understand their role and in trying to be good leaders. And I think this is a good amount of money for them right now, but it's also a thank you for the amount of time that they spend. So I think it is timely, and I appreciate Councilor Gross taking the lead and pulling together this order. They've also looked at like communities, and we've had that information. I know John Dunn had passed that out to some of us during the budget season just to take a look at it. And I think it's the right time. So thank you.
Yeah,
10% over 20 years. There are
Yeah.
not many employees that would be satisfied with that.
yeah, 0.5% a year, but it's also, you got to remember, it's $3,000 in total.
Yep. Councilor question, Councilor Worthley.
Yes. So Councilor Gross and I had a couple of conversations earlier on this year about putting this forward. And then I think it was the school committee's initiative. I'm not actually sure how it got to this point. So, where it's coming out of their budget, I don't even know that we should have much to say about it necessarily. I mean, I know we approve their budget and the bottom line, but I'm going to raise a question out of fairness. I don't think it goes far enough. No one runs because they're going to get 5,000 or 5,500. I don't think this is a let's draw better candidates because we can pay more, right? I don't imagine anybody on the school committee says that they do it for money. When I first ran for city council, when I first got on the city council, I didn't even know we got paid 20 years ago. I don't think people do it for that reason. And yet they put in, I mean, Councilor Gross, you told me that sometimes there's more time when you're in the school committee than on the city council. And, you know, they're not working or they're taking time away from their families or whatever. They get such criticism, sometimes from city councilors, but a lot of time from parents and the public. I don't think that a $5 raise over 20 years even says, it certainly, I understand that to say thank you, but it's not even come close to how grateful I think everyone really is for how many hours they put in. So to the extent that we have any influence of making it higher than that, it's their budget. I don't feel like we.
You froze up right at the critical moment.
Councillor Gilliland?
Yeah, I want to make sure that Council Worthy is back.
One, I'm sorry.
So,
I'm sorry.
Council, I just want to make a comment. They passionately discussed this at their meeting, the end of September. And if you haven't taken the time to watch it, I would certainly do that because, you know, they're comfortable with this. They had an opportunity to discuss it. And I really think that, that they took it to heart. And I know that they would be flattered to know that you think that they probably should get more than this. But if they're comfortable with it, then I honor that, in my opinion. Of course, I'm one of 9 votes.
Mhm. So I respect that. Sorry, Mr. Chairman, if I may continue. I respect what you're saying, Councilor Gilman. I'm sure they hem and hawed and weighed there's political consequences. Oh, you're just raising your own salary, which we hear from people all the time, those sorts of things. I see it very differently. They put in so much time that a $500 raise, I mean, with inflation, that what is that? That's going out to eat a couple times, 4 or 5 times with your family. Like, I don't even know what it is. It's not, in my opinion, a big enough thing.
Lost you again.
Councillor Gross, did you have something else to say?
Yeah, can you hear us, Jeff? If you can't hear, then,
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
I don't know what's going on with my computer. I'm sorry.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
We have absolutely no jurisdiction to change this. We can approve it, but they're in control of their destiny on their budget. And this comes directly out of their budget. This was their deliberation as a political arm. And I don't think that we have any, I mean, even if we did raise it, they would reduce it in their budget.
I understand.
So I really think that this, I would be a little, if I was on the school committee, I would be like, why are you doing that? That's not what we sent you.
I understand.
And
But then
so,
you wonder if they knew that we would have supported more, would they have gone with more? Who knows how they would have gone with
I
that?
I
think
think
that
that if you listen to
they-
that meeting, that they have that conversation. It's also fair to notice that based on the way the law is written, making this motion for this change now could potentially impact 0 of the current school committee members. It doesn't take effect until January of 2024.
Right.
So, I mean, it's carefully crafted so that it's not possible to have so-called self-interest or self-dealing in
Right.
making such a motion as this, although that's obviously a totally insignificant dollar amount.
I just want to make it clear. I fully support what they've put before us. I'm not going to hold it up. I'm not going to send the wrong message, whatever. I like that the message, if there is one, is this is a thank you, but a greater thank you for how hard they work. So,
Hey. So noted. Ready for a motion?
yes.
Budget and Finance requests that the Gloucester School Committee, that we approve the Gloucester School Committee request to approve school committee compensation from $5,000 to $5,500 effective January 1, 2024, as required by Mass General Law, Chapter 7, Paragraph 52, and I so move.
Second.
Any further discussion? A roll call vote. Councillor Gross,
Yes.
Councillor Worthley,
Absolutely, yes.
and Councillor Memhard. Yes, and thanks to the school committee for doing this. It's not like what's happening in the city of Boston right now, where the mayor's forced to send things back again,
Yeah.
20% raises and that sort of thing.
That was.
This
that
is
was-
very modest, as Councillor Worthley and Councillor Gross have both clearly pointed out. The next item on our agenda this evening is a memorandum from our Director of Elder Services, Elise Sinagua, requesting acceptance of donations in the amount of $805. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 donors. And I'll go ahead and make that motion that Budget and Finance recommends that the City Council accept cash donations under Mass General Law 4453A to support the Council on Aging in the amount of $805 from the following members and business partners within our community, including the West Gloucester Trinitarian Congregational Church and Milbandian, Jerry Favillaro, Marilyn Grant, Susan Baranik, Judith Harris, Lynn Sossman, Linda Zager, Josephine Galante, and Connie Condon, again for a total of $805. And I so move.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion or here? Councillor Gross.
I just, I meant to before, but time got away from me. Are these, I seem to recognize these names. Are they like monthly pledges or something that come through on these? Just curious. I can go back and look at previous BNFs and see. John, do you know?
Well, yeah, some of them are certainly recurring, Counselor. And I'm sure that, people kind of get in the habit of just supporting it on a monthly basis. So, I've seen this before in other places. So yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, so I think we should probably at some point, I'll look at it myself, not trying to put it, but some of these people may at the end of the year have, in total contributed quite a bit. So I'll look that up. I can look that up myself.
Yeah,
through
and
past-
as Elise has noted, as a city employee, she can't solicit these contributions.
Right,
I know from conversation with the Friends Board that many of these were solicitations that have been made over time by the Friends of the Gloucester Council on Aging, so that they can do outreach and solicit donations and funding, which they can be directed to the activities and funding for the Rose Baker Senior Center.
I think the best solicitation, though, is showing gratitude for which I think we all do very much. So gratitude for the people who do donate. And maybe, as you're saying, Councilor Gross, if there's someone or a number of people who are giving a little bit every month and it aggregates to a big number, let's make that known in December. So if there's people who want to make a donation that's tax deductible and sort of join the crowd of people who are supporting the Council on Aging, Elder Services, then maybe that would beget some more donations.
and Elise, of course,
Very
sends out thank yous, I think she told us.
Of course.
Yes.
Great.
So if there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and make that motion to as I've read it, recommending that the city council accept donations totaling $805 from the listed members in support of the Council on Aging. And I so move.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Councillor Gross,
Yes,
Councillor Worthley,
Yes.
Councillor Memhard. Yes. Motion passes unanimously by a vote of 3-0. Kenny, do you have anything for us to review? I see you're in the car on the way to the airport.
Yes, and I also just wanted to add, I did talk to Elise this week. She didn't mention there's an event next week. There's a Halloween event. I believe it's on the 27th. So I think some of these donors, they also know that these events are coming and they're looking to support them. She did mention, you know, a lot of donors, they're reoccurring, and also these events the next day that they, you know, they're just so excited. You know, you know, they really do enjoy the different events that the Council on Aging puts on. So the different activities. So I just wanted to add that, you know. As far as the overdrawn report, there was 21 accounts that were overdrawn. And I know in the past, we've talked about how things could change, you know, by day. So we actually did run the report again today. There's only 13 accounts, so 8 accounts were resolved. And we still have, the Council on Aging, as you know, the formula grant that comes in late, and that's going to, you know, remain on. And I did talk to Elise this week, as I mentioned earlier. That's something that, you know, she's going to find out, communicate, and see when when can she expect the grant. But she's expecting it'll probably be similar to last year, perhaps January or February timeframe. So probably after, you know, in the new year, that grant will come in. And then the other somewhat, you know, reoccurring item as well as the fire, the workers' compensation. Typically, there's an internal transfer. There's an OBT, what we call ordinary budget transfer, that they can take from their salaries account and transfer over to workers' compensation. So that's something that the fire department does, you know, either, you know, bi-weekly or monthly, that they do take care of. Other than that, everything else is pretty much the same, unless any councilors have any questions.
Councilors? Okay, I think we're good. Keep your eye on the road, Kenny.
Oh, thank you.
I'd say thank everybody this evening, and particularly TJ and the crew at Waterways and the Treasurer's Office, and all for supporting that grant on the new Harbor Masters boat. We spent a lot of time worrying about the absence of that in terms of stepping up the funding for that necessary outlay and expenditure. And it's great to see that our requests were heard, and that the city staff were able to follow through and make some significant gains in terms of a 75% matching grant. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, if I could, Scott, another possible benefit of that is they may be able to figure out how to finance a second launch, which is so desperately needed, particularly with the 400th coming and us planning to have even more maritime events. So hopefully they'll be able to.
I don't recall we went through it previously, but the full burden on their account reserves in terms of supporting the debt service on total expenditure that was projected for this new boat. So that burden has been substantially relieved. So
Yes.
They will be able to redirect those resources.
If they so choose, yeah.
Great. If there's no other business, I'd accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call vote. Councillor Gross,
yes.
Councillor Worthley.
Yes, good meeting. Thank you.
You covered all bases. Thank you very much, Jeff. And Councillor Gilman and Councillor O'Hara for joining us, and Sherry for covering the bases, and all the rest of you. So motion is made and seconded. Roll call vote. Councillor Gross,
Yes.
Councillor Worthley,
Yes.
Councillor Memhard, yes. And good night. And for
Good
those of you
night.
who have not yet eaten, enjoy your
Bon
dinner.
appetit.
That's
Good
what I'm
night,
doing.
everyone.
Thanks.
Everybody.
Okay, Sherry. Hey,
night.
Val, Tony, Scott, thank you.
Thank you.